In this video, I'll break down Agentforce agent actions, what they are, why they matter, and how they guide agents to understand the jobs they're meant to perform. So what is an agent action? An agent action is a specific executable task that an agent can perform to get work done, such as retrieving account data, drafting an email, creating a record, summarizing a record, and many other things. Actions are the tools an agent uses to act once it understands a user's request. You can see here that we have a topic called General CRM, represented by this big box here. And then we have several smaller boxes within this topic box. These smaller boxes represent the individual agent actions for this particular topic. While topics determine what job the agent is doing, actions determine how the agent completes the job. For example, if a user asks an agent for help writing an email, the agent selects the general CRM topic based on its topic name and topic classification description. And then after that, the agent would then determine which actions within this topic align best with the user's message. So in this case, the draft or revise email action, and then it would launch this action. So actions can read data from Salesforce. They can create, update, or delete Salesforce records via Flow or Apex. Agent actions can call APIs or external services. And they can also generate grounded natural language responses. Again, this would be grounded with data from your Salesforce org. There are two types of Agentforce actions. There's standard actions, and then there's custom actions. Salesforce provides standard actions out of the box. These come pre-built with Salesforce's standard topics and allow agents to handle many common use cases immediately. Again, things such as querying records, drafting content, or summarizing information. One of the pros of standard actions is speed, because your agent can use them right away without custom development. And another pro being that they're maintained by Salesforce, so they're automatically updated over time. The main downside of standard actions is the lack of flexibility, but that's where custom actions come in. Custom actions allow you to extend your agent with custom functionality specific to your business. You can build custom actions using auto-launch flows, Apex, prompt templates, and API integrations. Some of the pros of custom actions are that they're customizable, and they help you support complex or industry-specific workflows. And the main con of custom actions is that they require an admin or a dev that has the necessary expertise to build them. So these are the custom action types available when creating a new action. For most admins, the flow and the prompt template types are going to be the action types that you'll leverage most often, whereas developers most likely will support the creation of all custom action types. So you're probably wondering where agent actions are created and managed. Both agent actions and agent topics can be created in two places, the Agentforce Asset Library or the Agentforce Builder. The location you choose to create these has a major impact on whether those topics and actions can be reused. To create actions that can be reused across multiple agents, you must create them in the Agentforce Asset Library. This also goes for agent topics as well. You can access the asset library from setup by searching Agentforce assets in the quick find box. From here, you can define shared agent topics and agent actions that are available to be assigned to multiple agents. This is the primary advantage of creating assets outside of Agentforce Builder, and why I personally recommend starting in the asset library, especially for enterprise or multi-agent implementations. As I mentioned, the other location that you can create agent actions and topics are in Agent Builder. To navigate to Agent Builder, you need to first navigate to Agentforce Agents. From here, you can select any agent and then click on the Open in Builder button. So to create an agent action, you would first need to have a topic available. Fortunately for this example, I have the General CRM topic. Once you click into the topic, you would then click on the This Topic's Actions tab. And then from here, to create a new agent action, you would just click on this New button and then click Create New Action. And then as you can see, there's an option below it that says Add from the Asset Library. So if you created the agent action in the library, you can add it via this option right here. When you create actions or topics inside Agentforce Builder, they are only accessible to that specific agent. Salesforce makes an independent copy of the topic and its actions for that agent, meaning they can't be reused by other agents. Each agent maintains its own isolated copy. This allows you to safely customize actions for a single agent without impacting other agents, but it also means those topics and actions are effectively locked to that agent. So now that we know where to build agents, let's look at the fields that make up an agent action. The one field that I couldn't fit into this screenshot is the agent action description field, which is shown above these fields when you're on an agent action. The description field is auto-populated from the underlying flow or prompt template. It explains what the action does at a high level. It's important to review and refine it so that the agent clearly understands when an action should be used. And actually, one quick note about that. From the documentation I reviewed on how the reasoning engine selects an action, the action description field is just one of several fields that the reasoning engine uses when selecting an action. The other fields that the reasoning engine leverages is the label field, the agent action instructions field, and the input fields and output fields. Again, all these fields are used to help the reasoning engine select the right action. And this all happens after the reasoning engine has already selected the agent topic. So we've talked about the description field. Next, we have the agent action label. For flows, I generally list the label as the name of the underlying auto launch flow, but generally the label should describe the action in a few words. Next, we have the agent action instructions. This is where you provide natural language guidance. Given the simplicity of this particular action, this is only one sentence long, but typically the instructions should be anywhere from 1 to 3 sentences long. They should describe what the action does, when to use it, and the goal. Again, for this particular action, it's very straightforward, so I kept it short. Like I mentioned before, this is one of the key fields that helps the agent differentiate this action from other actions during the action selection process. Next, we have the require user confirmation checkbox. When this is enabled, it forces the agent to ask the user to approve before executing the action. This is used when an action changes data or performs some kind of irreversible update. It's intended to act as a safety mechanism. Next, we have show loading text for this action. When this is enabled, it displays a status message in the conversation while the action runs, the status message being this loading text right here. This improves the user experience and sets expectations on what output the user is going to receive. The loading text should be a short 1 to 3 word message describing what the action is doing. For example, retrieving open opportunities, making updates, fetching records. Again, the loading text just helps the interaction feel responsive and transparent. We next have the input fields, the first being the input instructions. These instructions explain what the input represents and how it should be provided. It's used by the agent to understand and request the correct value. So for this particular action, the underlying auto launch flow has an input variable defined as record ID. These input and output variables will only show if they are defined that way in the flow. So again, in the flow, this record ID variable was marked to be an input. And then I also have a collection variable in the flow that's defined as an output. This require input checkbox makes it so that the action can't run unless the value is present. So we don't want this action to run if we don't have an account record ID. So as long as that checkbox is enabled, it requires inputs from the reference action. The collect data from user checkbox, if enabled, it forces the agent to explicitly ask the user for input during the conversation. If we move on to the output fields, these fields define what the action returns and how the results are handled. So again, we have instructions. These instructions describe what the output represents. In this example, I list the fields I expect to be returned for the opportunity records that are returned. These instructions help the agent interpret and use the results correctly. This filter from agent action checkbox, this removes unused outputs from the agent's context, and it keeps the agent focused. When enabled, this removes unused outputs from the agent's context. I do want to note that at least one output must always be returned from an agent action. And then lastly, we have the show in conversation checkbox. This is how you get the outputs to appear directly in the agent's response. So with this enabled, it will actually return a list of opportunities with the fields that I specified in the instructions. But when this checkbox is disabled, the agent instead summarizes the outputs in a natural language. So some key takeaways. An Agentforce action is a single, focused task an agent can execute. It has a clear name. It has purpose-built instructions. It has defined inputs and outputs. It has governed execution rules. And it has configurable user experience controls. Actions are the tools agents use to accomplish the jobs defined by topics. So that's all I have for this video. Thank you all for watching today, and I'll see you in the next video.